Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. The war on Assange is a war on truth. It is dangerous to reveal the truth about the illegal and immoral things our government does with our money and in our name. And the war on journalists who dare reveal such truth is very much a bipartisan affair. Just ask WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who was relentlessly pursued first by the Obama administration and now by the Trump administration for the crime of reporting on the crimes perpetrated by the United States government. Assange is now literally fighting for his life as he tries to avoid being extradited to the United States, where he faces 175 years in prison for violating the Espionage Act. While it makes no sense to be prosecuted as a traitor to a country of which you are not a citizen, the idea that journalists who do their job and expose criminality in high places are treated like traitors is deeply dangerous to a free society. To get around the First Amendment's guarantees of freedom of the press, Assange's tormentors simply claim that he is not a journalist. Then CIA Director Mike Pompeo declared that WikiLeaks was a hostile intelligence service aided by Russia. Ironically, that's pretty much what the Democrats are saying about Assange. Earlier this month, a U.S. federal appeals court judge ruled that the NSA's bulk collection of Americans' telephone records was illegal. That bulk collection program, born out of the Anti-American Patriot Act, was first revealed to us by whistleblower Edward Snowden just over 7 years ago. That is why whistleblowers and those who publish their information are so important. Were it not for Snowden and Assange, we would never know about the government's criminality. And if we never know about government's malfeasance, it can never be found to be criminal in the first place. That is convenient for governments, but it is also a recipe for tyranny. While we might expect the U.S. media to aggressively come to the aid of a fellow journalist being persecuted by the government for doing his job, the opposite is happening. As journalist Glenn Greenwald wrote last week, the U.S. mainstream media is completely ignoring the Assange extradition trial. Why would they do such a thing? Partisan politics journalists, with a few important exceptions, like Greenwald himself, are no longer interested in digging and reporting the truth. These days, they believe they have a higher calling. As Greenwald puts it, if you start from the premise that Trump is a fascist dictator who has brought Nazi tyranny to the United States, then it isn't that irrational to believe that anyone who helped empower Trump, which is how they see Assange, deserves to be in prison. Hence, the lack of concern about it. That may seem like a good idea to these journalists in the short term, but for journalism itself to become an extension of government power rather than a check on that government would be deeply harmful. We cannot have a self-governing society as was intended for our republic if the government, with the complicity of the mainstream media, decides that there are things we are not allowed to know about. President Trump should end the U.S. government's war on Assange and on all whistleblowers and their publishers. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching it here.